Sir, shall we start or shall we wait for a few more minutes?
We can wait for 5-6 minutes.
All right, sir.
I put the message on the family group.
All right, sir.
Live streaming has also started. Dimpy ma'am? Dimpy ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Recording start कर दिया?
मैं कर रही हूँ, sir.
Okay.
Sir, I have started the recording.
Okay.
I think after 2 minutes, we'll start the session, sir.
Just wait for 1 or 2 minutes. It's only just 3:29.
All right, sir. Shall we start, sir?
Yes, please.
Anshu ma'am? Am I audible, Anshu ma'am?
Yes.
We are starting with the session, ma'am. Just a second. A very good afternoon to all of you present here. I, Dr. Dimpi Sachar, on behalf of Banarsidas Chandiwala Institute of Professional Studies, extend you all a very warm welcome to this webinar on brand building in a D2c economy. With the aim of enlightening our students with the contemporary topics on marketing, we used to invite industry experts and professionals having enriched experience. So today, I would like to introduce Ms. Anshu Gupta, COO Pinstorm Technologies, as a resource person for today's session. Ma'am is a highly qualified marketing professional. She has been in the media industry for about 20 years, working with brands like Star TV, National Geographic Channel, the History Channel, etc. In her marketing career, Anshu ma'am has launched and nurtured many successful brands across various product categories. Her career has spanned linear TV channels from the era of broadcast TV to individual data-driven content and ad-serving platforms. She is well-versed with latest technologies in advertising and marketing, having launched scores of websites and using various AI, ML, and other MarTech tools. She has graduated in physics and mathematics from Christchurch College, Kanpur, and earned a postgraduate diploma in management from LBSIM, New Delhi. She has been awarded with an Achiever of Excellence in Marketing by Bombay Management Association and Bhujbal Knowledge City in the year 2011. She has been the part of the Alumni Association of LBSIM. She has also been recognized as one of the 50 innovative leaders in sustainable businesses by World Innovation Congress in 2020. And she has also featured as a Women in Travel by Lonely Planet magazine in 2019 and 2020. We welcome you, ma'am. I would now invite Ms. Anshu Gupta, ma'am, to take over the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dimpi and everybody from the Institute for having me here. I'm very honored to be addressing the students with something which is so contemporary. It also gives me a sign that your institute is always looking out for what is the latest and what is the trending technologies being used in the world of marketing and in the world of business management these days. The speed of change in our world has become very fast. So things that had not changed at all in last 30 years have suddenly gone through many changes in just last 20 years. Well, I completed my MBA approximately 25 years back. And I must say that my professional journey has been filled with the kind of technological innovations that have come in the market since then. I remember when I had joined, when I started working for television, one of the largest networks in the country at that point of time, which still is Star TV, which has been taken over by Disney now. However, after working with television for 5-6 years, which was called mass media at that point of time, I joined digital, which was very small. Digital media was very small when I shifted from television to digital in 2006. And I still remember that it was called new media at that point of time. But even then, I realized that the power of the medium was such that I was quite confident that very soon we will all be watching television on digital media. And today, as you all know, that has become a reality. So I've been fortunate that I made this shift to digital much earlier. I'm one of the very early digital marketing professionals in the country. So I have a very good mix of experience of television and digital, being in digital for almost last 18 years now. I work with Pinstorm, which is actually India's second digital marketing company. There was only one other digital marketing company when I joined Pinstorm. From then to now, we have become very large. As you know, digital has grown. I don't think people even think these days that digital is separate. I think everyone has got some or the other digital integration in their life. Even people who are not educated, they are using digital media. They're using digital media, and sometimes even better than us. They're using technologies like YouTube, which is like an on-demand television channel, you can say. They're using technologies like WhatsApp, and some of them are definitely using Facebook and some other social networking sites as well. So I think digital, with the advent of mobile phones and bandwidth, has become the mass media now. And in fact, in 2020, the advertising spends on digital have already surpassed the advertising spends that have happened on television in the year 2020. So today, digital is not the secondary medium or the new medium. Today, digital is the mass medium. And I think it is very important that whatever studies you do in whichever field of management it is extremely important that you take technology and this whole digital ecosystem as one of the very, very big ecosystems in your own field of study, whatever it is. I mean, technology has made its mark in HR also, in finance also, of course, in production manufacturing, and definitely in marketing, something that we will be talking about today. So before I start my presentation, just wanted to, just a little bit of housekeeping. Just wanted to say that I would very much like this session to be interactive, which means that at any point of time, if you have any questions, please raise your hand. I'm sure Dr. Dimpy can help moderate any questions, that are coming up. And even though I might not be able to see the hands up or the chats, I'm sure one of you can moderate that for me. But I would like the questions to come up. I don't want to keep all the questions to the end because sometimes then we lose context. At the same time, if there are questions towards the end, we will handle that as well. The second thing that I want to know out of all of you who are in the first year or doing your MBAs now, the students who are here, I want to know, have some of you run their own businesses? Do any of you have your own businesses, small businesses? Or have you worked in some other companies earlier? Just if I can get a sense, Dr. Dimpy, if I can get a sense of if we have some entrepreneur students amongst us.
Surely, ma'am. Some students, I would like to ask from the students, any of you is into the field of entrepreneurship?
Any business that you might.
Any business, any online or offline business you are involved in? One student has raised a hand, Nikunj Kapoor, ma'am. Kapoor?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, I am handling
Would
my
you
own
like to
business.
share what business? Okay. What business do you run?
Ma'am, clutch pads.
Clutch pads. Okay. All right. Okay. Cool. Given that, these days it is so easy to start business. So I thought, maybe, okay, Nikunj, that's okay. We'll see you more in the class. I thought since it is so easy to start business these days, maybe, there are some students who are finding some time to, run a small side business as well. Okay. So I have a presentation to talk about D2c. So let's get to it. I'll just share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So we are going to be talking about brand building in a D2c economy. We are going to talk about D2c economy first of all. What is that, and what are the nuances of it? What are the finer features of it? Because a lot of tenets of brand building is the same, but it takes on a new meaning when you present it in a new format of D2C. So what is this D2C, which is also written as D2C or direct to consumer, and how is it different from some other models? The other models being B2c, B2b, C2c, e-commerce, marketplace, social commerce. So first of all, can one of you just share what is your understanding of what is an online business, or what is e-commerce, and what is offline business? Please go ahead.
Students, please be interactive.
I would like to know what is your understanding of what is e-commerce and what is not e-commerce?
Ma'am,
Rohit Singh has raised the hand. Kindly unmute yourself, Rohit.
Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, actually, e-commerce is basically doing the business on the online platform. And offline is providing goods or services to the people on the doorstep, or it's contain the physical touch. But in the e-commerce, it doesn't have the physical touch, but you can see. But you cannot touch the product till it arrives to you.
So for example, if you're standing at a Kirana store and you buy a pack of chips and you make a payment through Paytm or something, is that e-commerce or is that not e-commerce?
I don't think so, ma'am. It's not e-commerce. If you are doing an offline business, you are going to the shop and purchasing some product. The payment is done on the online, but for the purchasing and the commerce thing, it's all done on the offline matter, ma'am.
Right. Similarly, if you buy something on the internet, for example, you see something on your Instagram, and if you buy it, but you buy it COD, which means that you pay for the money when the material arrives at your doorstep. Is that e-commerce or is that not e-commerce?
It's e-commerce, ma'am, because the shopping was done on the online platform, ma'am. It was not physically present at the time of purchasing it.
Right. So typically, trading is seen as when you buy something, which means you get something and you pay for something. When you exchange goods for money, that is called a trade, right? In this case, e-commerce or offline business is not something which is decided by how the payment is being done, okay? So the payment can be happening either which way, either with real money or with electronic money. However, where are you buying the product? Where are you deciding to buy the product? That is what decides if it is e-commerce or if it is not e-commerce. The same pack of chips you can buy online also, and the same pack of chips you can buy offline also, right? So that is the big difference between e-commerce and real life commerce, if I can call it that. Now, can somebody explain to me the difference between B2c, B2b, and C2c? B is business, C is consumer. So what is a B2C business? What is a B2B business? And what is a C2C business?
Anyone from the students? Ajin, kindly unmute yourself, bitte.
And B2B is business to business. C2C is customer to customer. And B2C is business to customer.
So what is a customer to customer business? Can you think of what examples are we talking about here?
Ma'am, like if a lady baking a cake and she gives to her neighbor, that is C2C. Gifting it or sending it to her neighbor.
Okay. So slight difference here. Customer to customer is also peer to peer. Yes. Where actually you've already bought something and you're selling to somebody else, or it is a peer network kind of a thing, peer-to-peer lending, for example, which means that there is no bank involved. You just, borrow money from some people who are on that network. So for example, a peer-to-peer lending network where people can lend money to each other, small amounts, not very large amounts, without any intermediary. So that is a peer-to-peer business. Or OLX is a very good example of a peer-to-peer business, right? So that is customer to customer. B2B is when you are not selling to the end consumer of that product. Okay. Now, please be careful, because you can also say, if I'm making clutch pads, for example, and my clutch pads are being bought by automobile companies, like a Maruti or something, right? That is a B2B business, because my clutch pad is not bought directly by the person who's going to be using the clutch pad, right? If I'm selling it directly to the customer, then it becomes a B2C business. But you can also say, well, in that case, the automobile company, let's say Maruti, is my customer, right? So that is also business to customer. But how it is defined typically, customer is an individual purchasing it and business is an organization purchasing it. Okay. So for example, if I am a Xerox machine seller and if I sell Xerox machine to a company, okay, then that is a B2B business because I sit with the purchasing manager and the purchasing manager takes a decision and it is used by the entire company. All right. Sometimes it is wholesale also, but it is not necessary. It is not necessary that all B2B businesses are wholesale and all B2C businesses are retail. Okay. So you must keep this in mind because see, these are all acronyms which are used by management people or investors or economic newspapers and things like that. So the definition should be clear in your mind. B2C means when a manufacturer, somebody who's manufacturing, is selling to individual customers is a B2C business. A manufacturer or a trader selling to other business, other office is a B2B business. C2C we have already spoken about that it is peer-to-peer lending. Now, anything, either B2C or B2B or C2C, all of them can be either offline or online. As a purchase manager, I can buy a photocopier online also. All right. So it is not that B2B is all offline. Anything can be online these days. So that is not the distinction. E-commerce is typically when you see the inventory online, either on any platform, and then you make the decision on the internet itself to buy and the delivery happens later, right? A marketplace. Anybody can clarify what is a marketplace?
Anyone from the students? Swati, would you like to give the answer?
Ma'am, can I try?
Sure.
Sanchita, yes, you can, beta.
Ma'am, a market is a place where we can sell or buy any product. Like there's consumer also and there's buyer also.
Marketplace is actually, almost think of it like a large departmental store where anybody can come and set up their shop. Okay. So for example, Amazon is a marketplace. Amazon does not produce anything. Amazon does not manufacture anything. Amazon just gets other sellers to come and sell on their platform. Okay. So that is called a marketplace, which is different from something like a Nykaa. Nykaa is also a marketplace. Now they have some of their own brands also, but they're still not manufacturers. But let's say if you go to the Nike.com website and if you buy shoes from there, then that is not a marketplace because they don't sell, or even if they sell shoes from some other companies, it is not something that they have opened up to everybody or anybody. Okay, it is Nike's own e-commerce website. Is the distinction clear? Okay. Now, similarly, social commerce. Can anybody try? What is social commerce?
Anyone would give a try?
Social commerce is just one. Yes, please go ahead.
Rohit Singh, you can unmute yourself.
Ma'am, it can be basically on the commerce which is done for the social work, like charity वगैरह हो गया, इनको कुछ भी donation वगैरह होता है for the purchasing for that. It can be the social commerce, ma'am.
No, that is not called social commerce. What we mean with social commerce over here is that when you buy things on a social network. So, for example, on Facebook, for example, or Instagram, right? When you buy things through social media. Now, Facebook is not actually a shop, right? But it is possible for you to create a shopping page over there where people can come and buy your goods, right? They have provided that functionality. Similarly, on Instagram, there is a functionality. Even on Twitter, even on WhatsApp, there is a functionality to set up a business these days, right? So where it is not actually a market, it's not actually some place for commerce, but it is a place to network, but you can set up a shop as well. Now, there is a lot of overlap between all these things, right? Social commerce, marketplace, B2C, B2B. But the reason why I wanted to talk about all this is that you should be very clear what each one of these things is for. Okay. Now, can somebody answer what is D2C?
Anyone would like to give the answer?
What do we mean by D2C and how do you think it is different from B2C? the answer is actually on the screen itself. I would like one of you to try it out. D2c and B2c, what is the difference?
Ma'am,
Yes, Swati.
ma'am, in D2C, the consumer is directly dealing with the manufacturer, whereas in B2C, there is a chain of people involved, like the wholesaler, retailer, and there is a sequence that follows until the product reaches to the consumer.
Exactly. So the big difference between B2C and D2C is that there is no middleman in D2C. In a B2C, even when somebody is selling directly to me, there is an involvement of some middleman, like a wholesaler, for example, or a retailer, or maybe even an e-commerce site, right? So for example, Amazon is not D2C because I go to Amazon, I put up my products over there. Some of the logistics may be taken care of by Amazon also. So that is not D2C. Okay. Can anybody share any example of a D2C brand that they may have interacted with, where you are directly dealing with the brand on their own website, or maybe through social commerce, because social commerce is quite easy for the D2C brands to do. Anybody has bought anything from through Instagram directly from the manufacturer, especially girls buying some clothes or something? Or for example, has anybody
Of booking the flight from the original airline's website?
Yeah, very good question. Now, the thing is that we typically talk about manufacturing products over here, not services. Okay? Because services, if you ask me, every kind of service is all D2C, right? You directly deal with your consumer, right? So we will, your thought process is very good. And yes, it can be called D2C, but typically the word D2C is used when you are either manufacturing something or trading in something, like you're getting it made from somewhere typically. But it's, I would say 90% you are the owner of that product, as in you create that product yourself. So by that definition, airline will not fit into it. Okay. Anybody else?
Okay,
Any D2C example? Any D2C example?
Swati, if you want to say something?
Arjun, you want to say one?
Ma'am, Mamaearth.
Exactly. Mamaearth is something. Sorry?
Ma'am, and the
Apple stores are there. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay.
iPhone.
Now Apple Store typically, Apple as a business cannot be called D2C. Okay. Because every company can now put up a website. Even Coca-Cola can put up a website and start selling Coca-Cola directly to you, right? But that does not make them a D2C brand. Because you know that the typical business model that a Coca-Cola company or an Apple follow is that of a wholesaler and of a supplier. You go to an Apple store and you buy from there, right? And some, of course, Apple stores are their own stores also. They don't have so many middlemen. But there is definitely a chain where there is middlemen involved as well. Apple is, I would say, very D2C brand for sure. But again, typically D2C brands is used for new upcoming small brands, which become big eventually if they do their job right. And I don't think Apple can go out and claim themselves to be a D2C brand. I hope I'm able to make the distinction clear. Yeah. So for example, Nike, again, we'll take the Nike example. You can go to Nike.com and you can buy some shoe from Nike directly, correct? But is Nike, can Nike be typically called a D2C brand? No. Okay. In fact, by that logic, I would say every brand in today's world is D2C because you can reach any brand. There are hardly any brands, and I will tell you some brands which you don't know about, which are hidden behind the middleman, right? So for example, there's a company called Luxottica. Luxottica creates almost 95% of all the glasses that you wear, irrespective of the brand that they are from, right? So all the eyeglasses that you wear, 95% of the world's eyeglasses are created by a company called Luxottica. But it is quite possible that you've never heard their name and you don't know where they are and there is no D2C connect or anything, okay? They just manufacture for these other brands and you might be buying it from these other brands. On the other hand, Lenskart can be called a D2c brand. Okay? So I hope this distinction is clear. Again, there are lots of overlaps, but it is possible to kind of sharply define and then say, okay, is this brand D2C or is this brand not D2C? So why has this D2C become a buzzword suddenly? Because even earlier, the brands were selling directly to the, just like Apple example, right? Apple stores have been around for 10, 15, 20 years. And they were directly reaching out. Even, for example, Tesla, right? Tesla does not have any dealership or anything, right? Tesla is also a D2C brand in that sense. Long time back, when there were no supermarkets or anything, manufacturers were setting up their small shops and selling things. Those were all D2C brands. So why has suddenly D2C become a buzzword? Any thoughts?
Yes, Sajjan.
Okay, I'll please go on. I'm happy to listen to what you have to say.
To remove middle workers like agents or wholesaler.
Exactly. That's a very big change that has happened in the market. That now brands are able to reach the consumer directly, which was very difficult to do 20 years back. It was difficult to do because it requires a lot of a lot of work. For example, if I'm manufacturing papad, for example, right? And I'm talking about 20 years back. If I'm a manufacturer of papad, I have no other place to sell it, right? Except for some shops in the localities, right? So which means I have to set up a distribution network. I have to give them my inventory and they are supposed to be selling it, right? Because even if my papads are great, I don't want to start creating shops to just sell my papad, right? So that is why the job of middlemen, the job of retailer, the job of wholesaler, the whole distribution chain was very important. But because of technology, we will see that it is possible today that actually you don't need any middleman. आपको मतलब शॉप भी बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है. तो अगर शॉप की जरूरत नहीं है तो रिटेलर की भी जरूरत नहीं है, होलसेलर की भी जरूरत नहीं है, किसी की जरूरत नहीं है, right? So the reason why D2C has become very big is because now even a small manufacturer, by taking care of a few things, is able to scale their business up very fast. Okay, it provides a better brand experience. मतलब if I'm a small papad manufacturer, वो दुकान वाला like लिज्जत पापड़ को या whatever some other पापड़ को ही सामने रखने वाला है because they are the ones who are giving more advertising monies etc. मेरे पापड़ को कोई जानता नहीं है, कोई खरीदने वाला नहीं है, right? But as a D2C brand, I can give a better brand experience. I can tell my stories directly. I can tell them about मेरे ingredients कितने ज़्यादा pure हैं और मेरा method बनाने का कितना घर के जैसा है या whatever it is that I want to tell, right? So there is a better customer experience, a better brand experience. There is a direct brand relationship that I can build, which is something that Mama Earth has done. You've seen in last just 5 years how Mama Earth has become very big by creating these direct brand relationships. Whatever is my vision of the brand, I'm able to convey. मतलब वो दुकान वाले को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता कि मेरा क्या बिजनेस का प्लान है और क्या नहीं है. उसको तो बस माल बेचने का है, जितना माल बिकेगा वो और ले लेगा, बस that's it. लेकिन यहाँ पे I can create a whole brand vision. I get direct consumer data and insights. कितने लोग आलू का पापड़ खरीद रहे हैं, कितने लोग मूंग का दाल खरीद रहे हैं, कितना क्या खरीद रहे हैं. ये पहले डेटा मुझे दुकान से लेना पड़ता था. अब दुकान वाला देता है डेटा तो ठीक है, नहीं तो we don't know. So this is one of the problems that manufacturers face with Amazon or with Facebook, because the data is with them, right? They give whatever data they want to give. But if I'm creating my own D2C bridge, then all the data is with me. How many products did this consumer see before finally deciding, or how much time did this person take to finally make a decision? All this data is with me, which can help me in providing better marketing programs. I have a direct access to my consumers. Consumers have a direct access to brands. Sales protection. What do we mean by sales protection over here is that, let's say if a new brand comes, okay, and goes to the shop and says, I will give you 2% more margin. So that shopkeeper is going to give the space, the shelf space to that brand, right? So I will not be able to compete. I will not be able to protect my shelf space. And actually 20-25 साल तक यही गेम होता था कि कौन कितना ज्यादा मार्जिन दे रहा है, किसको कितनी शेल्फ स्पेस मिल रही है. This was the big thing in marketing when we studied marketing, right? But if I'm directly reaching out to consumer, I can protect my sales, right? Because there's nobody going to encroach on it on my own website or wherever I'm selling it. I can increase sales as much as I want. अगर कभी मेरा थोड़ा production कम हो गया तो मैं उसको वो सारे levers मेरे पास रहते हैं कि उसको हम कम भी कर सकते हैं, ज़्यादा भी कर सकते हैं. And of course, I get improved margins because I don't have to pay the retailer, I don't have to pay the wholesaler and so many other middlemen. So my margins as a manufacturer is improved as well. The speed to go to market is also faster, right? So like मैं जैसे ही बनाऊं वैसे ही उसको मैं अपने इंटरनेट पे अपने फेसबुक पेज पे या अपने इंस्टाग्राम पेज पे लगा सकती हूँ. So the speed to take the product to the market is also very fast. In fact, earlier this speed used to be like 3 months, 1 year, depending on the product. It used to be a very long cycle. But today you can do a very fast launch and very quickly take something to market and get very quick feedback also. कि ये product चल रहा है कि नहीं चल रहा है. Right? And I can show my full product range. Now, if I'm Nike, for example, and if you go to a shoe shop, only 10, 15, 20 pairs will be Nike pairs. Then there will be some other Puma pairs. There will be some other Adidas. I'm talking about a multi-brand shoe shop. And the retailer does not have place to keep more than 15, 20 of each brand, right? Otherwise, I have to create my own special outlet if I want to show more. But on the internet, I can put my entire product range, right? Of course, with the whole, I will have to keep some inventory. So there will be some warehousing capability that I need. But I can put my full product range and I don't have to rely on the retailer. Because the retailer will always say कि नहीं मुझे सिर्फ आलू का ही पापड़ चाहिए क्योंकि आपका ये दाल का पापड़ नहीं चलता है, मुझे नहीं रखना है, मुझे सिर्फ आलू का पापड़ रखना है. But on my own site, I can put whatever I want. And there is a dedicated shopping engagement experience, right? So these are the reasons why D2C has become such a strong force for manufacturers and for marketers these days. The factors that support the growth of D2C. Now, in the next slide, we are going to be talking about some of the trends which have supported the growth of D2C. The reason why this is important is because each one of you can do your own analysis to say that, okay, अब ये सारे factors आगे बड़े होने वाले हैं कि कम होने वाले हैं. अगर ये factors कम होने वाले हैं तो D2C का market धीरे धीरे छोटा हो जाएगा. और अगर बड़े होने वाले हैं तो ये D2C का market बढ़ने ही वाला है अगले 2 साल, 3 साल, 4 साल. So it will allow you to predict the market according to your own analysis, right? So the growing trust in e-commerce. Pehle, I would say until about 8 years back, 9 years back, not everybody used to trust e-commerce, right? वो मतलब देख तो लेते थे लेकिन कोशिश यही करते थे कि हम शॉप में जाके ही खरीदेंगे because they were not trusting the quality or not trusting the brands that they have not heard of and all that, right? But now in last 5 years and specifically in last 2 years because of the pandemic and the e-commerce growth, there is a very huge growth in e-commerce and people trust कि कोई हमारे साथ स्कैम नहीं होने वाला है, जो आएगा वो ठीक होएगा, अगर ठीक नहीं होएगा तो हम वापस दे सकते हैं. So there is this growth in trust, right? So which is why the brands like Mama Earth or so many other cosmetic brands or so many other small clothes brands are able to run their shops very nicely. At the same time, there's a growing mistrust in big corporates. रोज हम stories पढ़ते हैं कि कैसे food items में बहुत junk है. You know how there are so many companies which are polluting the planet by like company like fast fashion companies like a Primark or like a Zara, how they're contributing to environment pollution because of the big scale that they work on. Labor laws नहीं वहाँ पे follow होते हैं. So because of all these stories coming out, there's actually a growing mistrust in big corporates and people are trusting the small, that they will not be hurting the environment, so on and so forth. So many payment gateways have come up. You don't need to, physically pay. I don't have to tell you, there are so many ways in which you can pay directly online to a producer these days. Third-party logistics, which means as a manufacturer, I don't have to worry about, अरे मेरा product अगर रांची में किसी ने खरीद लिया तो मैं भेजूंगी कैसे, right? There are so many companies which are working on shipping, packaging, and all this third-party logistics that I can tie up with one of the companies, and my item can be sent anywhere in the world today, right? So the growth of the third-party logistics is also one of the factors that support the growth of D2C. Now, as you read these points, you should keep in mind what is your analysis that these things are going to go big or these things are going to go small? Because like I said, that will decide the future of D2C. Yes, go on. Somebody has a question?
Swati, would you like to ask something better?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Sorry, I thought I heard somebody saying something. That's it. Okay. Growth of social media. The fact that there are millions and millions of people on social media through which we are directly connected. I think, I'm sure all of you are connected to at least 500, 1,000 people on your social media pages. तो अगर 1,000 लोग मुझसे already connected हैं, तो अगर आप मान लीजिए आप को कोई किसी तरह का क्राफ्ट आता है या किसी तरह की आर्ट आती है आपको, मान लीजिए यू आर वेरी गुड एट मेकिंग पोर्ट्रेट्स, does not take anything, right, to start your shop, and you can start taking orders from these 1,000 people that you're connected with, that I can make pencil sketches, or I can make portraits, or I can make hand knitted caps for you or something like that, if you have that talent with you, right? So growth of social media is another thing. Of course, bandwidth, cloud compute, mobile phones becoming cheaper, internet becoming cheaper, all this has, of course, also supported the growth. Technology backend available to even small companies. जैसे ही आपका business थोड़ा सा भी बड़ा होने लगे, you can have things like Salesforce, things like Zoho, things like Freshworks, which allow you to run your business operations in a better way, right? So this technology backend was earlier available only to big companies because उसके development में बहुत time लगता था, और किसी बड़ी company like an IBM or like an Infosys इन सबके साथ contract करना पड़ता था. But nowadays, this technology backend of running businesses has been made very, very easy. In fact, you might have seen how Freshworks did an IPO in the New York Stock Exchange, right? Girish Mathrubootham did an IPO, and that is his job. He provides this business technology backend to small companies. The other thing on a consumer side, which is extremely important, is this desire to stand out. I don't want to wear what everyone is wearing. I don't want to eat what everyone is eating. I don't want mass brands. I want something which is customized. I want something which is personalized. I want something which is different. I want to stand out from the crowd, right? Which is why the D2c brands have come up. Because let's say I want a Western outfit, but with Indian print, right? तो अभी Western outfit खरीदने अगर मैं Zara में जाऊं, for example, तो मुझे Indian print हो सकता है ना मिले. But on the internet, on Instagram, on Facebook, I can find lots of designer brands who are making very nice Western dresses, but with Indian motifs, right? With Indian art and crafts. So, I want to wear something different, so I can go to that kind of a brand, right? And at the same time, the consumer is now willing to pay extra for a customized design, for a customized function, for higher quality. So all these things, Mama Earth, for example, I mean, Mama Earth people, people who use Mama Earth products, earlier before Mama Earth, they would probably be buying either Lakme or Maybelline or something, like that's what they would be buying. But now they understand that the Lakme products are cheap at that cost because the quality is not that good. Mama Earth might be a little more expensive, but we think that their quality is better than what Lakme is providing. Their range is better, the colors of lipsticks are better, or whatever it is, right? So this willingness to pay for that extra thing is also which is supporting the growth of D2C. Otherwise, how can Mama Earth in just last 4 years take on big brands like a Lakme and Maybelline and so many other brands, right? Any questions at this stage?
Any of the students would like to ask any question?
Okay, no problem. We'll move ahead. So how do you build a D2C brand? Okay. Is it different? Is it different from building a B2C brand, right? First of all, I would say it's not very different because the basics of a D2C brand is the same that is there for any brand, but it is even more important for D2C. If your product, if your service is not of very high quality, nobody will buy your product, okay? Because the reason why people come to D2C brands is because of the quality of service, is because of the quality of their product. So it is extremely important. If your product is second rate, please don't try to create your own D2C channels. It's better if you let the retailer sell it for you, or if you let Amazon sell it for you, okay? Quality of the product is extremely important. Differentiation, you must have read in your Kotlers, in your marketing classes, that there must be something that you're providing that other brands are not providing. You have to work very hard at it and figure out why should somebody buy. Now there are other cosmetics also, right? Not just Mama, there is sugar also, and there are so many others also, right? But why is it that somebody will buy my product? Is my formulation different? Is my aesthetics different? What is my quality better? What is it that I can differentiate upon? You have to work very hard on creating it. If it is not there, please understand it will be a Me Too brand, and again, very difficult to scale up, right? Your brand should stand out in terms of its design, how it looks, what is your packaging. In that sense, your brand should stand out as well. Very important thing for a D2C brand is storytelling, right? What is the story here? When I say story, I'm sure there must be other sessions that you guys will have, because storytelling will be one full session in itself. Today, in the day of digital marketing, storytelling has become extremely important. What kind of environment, what kind of feel, what kind of this kind of ecosystem can I build which differentiates my brand from some other brand? I'll give you an example, which is not exactly a D2C brand, but you might remember seeing a lot of ads from this company before the pandemic started, which is Forest Essentials, right? It's a cosmetic company brand. Now, if you remember the commercial a little bit, it was almost like they are getting their jadi booties, their herbals directly from the forest, and in this very nice looking environment, those things are being created, right? So the moment you saw that commercial, you were transported to a different kind of feel. And that is the kind of storytelling that you need to do, not just in one commercial, but in your entire social media work that you will be doing. Every reel that you will put out, every post that you will put out, every small video that you will put out, on Facebook, Instagram, wherever it is that you do. The storytelling will become very, very important. And my request to Dr. Dimpy and other professors is also that if you have not done a session on storytelling, please do consider this, because it is, as marketers and in this digital world today, storytelling has become very important. Good UX and UI, when you create your own website, please make sure that your user experience and your user interface is very, very good, that the customer is not struggling to find the product, that the flow of, how the whole sales process goes through is seamless. So that is extremely important for a D2C brand. Good customer service. The reason why people choose a D2C brand over a big brand is because they want to connect directly to the brand. So if your customer service is not good, if your customer engagement is not good, frankly, it is impossible for you to create a D2C brand. You must learn how to use social media very effectively, because that will be the biggest input of customers for you. Okay. Repeat purchases. If you don't work towards repeat purchases right from the very beginning, it is almost like saying कि मैं हर दिन अपने दुकान में एक नया customer लेके आने वाला हूँ. As you know, getting a new customer is more difficult than getting an old customer again, right? So right from the very beginning, when you start creating a D2C brand, you should always keep in mind, how is it that I can get this customer to come back and buy something more, or buy more of the same product, right? That is extremely important. This will not happen if the quality of your product is not good, if the website UX and UI is not good, if customer service is not good, then repeat purchase will not happen. Okay? Your customer should stay engaged throughout. मतलब एक बार वो खरीद के चला गया तो ये नहीं कि बस चला गया. आपको उसको engaged रखना है, और आपको शुरू से ही सोचना पड़ेगा कि उस customer को कैसे engaged रखना है. Then the other thing which is very important is word of mouth or PR. What I mean to say is that it will be impossible for you to reach out to every person. But let's say if Swati bought something from a D2C brand, then she has to tell her friend. Then that friend has to tell her friend. Then that friend has to tell her friend. And that's the way the D2C brand grows. You will not be able to grow a D2C brand just by advertising. It takes a lot of money. And very soon you will run out of all those investments. So if the quality of your product is good, and if you keep the customer engaged, it is highly likely that your customers will only get you more customers. Okay. So the word of mouth and PR becomes extremely important for building a D2C brand. So this, in short, are some of the things that you have to keep in mind if you want to create a D2C brand, either for your own, or if you go out and work for some other D2C brand. These are the things that you have to keep in. Now, the reason why I asked the question, if somebody is running a business of their own, is because these things become very easy to understand when you're already running a business, right? When you're already trying to sell something directly on the internet, then all these points are very easy for you to understand. Until the time you have not tried to sell something on the internet, these are just theoretical, this is just a theoretical slide. Okay, it will be, you will remember all this when, if one of you starts your own business or you join some D2c brand like a Mamaearth or like some other company when you graduate out of your MBA school, then you will remember all this. Okay, because the hands-on experience in creating a D2c brand is extremely important. So that those are the things that I had kept for today's session. So I'm open for any questions that you might have. I'll stop sharing my screens. I'm available on all these social media channels. If even later, if you want to talk about something, if you have any questions or want to share something. But for now, if there are any questions, I'm happy to.
Yes, ma'am, there is a question. Vikasa, you can unmute yourself and put your question in front of you, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am, actually you have given the very good example of C2C.
Yes.
And I have one more example. Will it fall in the C2C category or not? That is the MLM, multi-level marketing. That is the Tupperware and all kind of chain, Amway.
You can call it C2C, but frankly, I'll be honest with you. I was having this discussion with some other industry professional earlier also. Frankly, I think MLM is a fading structure now, right? Because earlier, basically, the reason why MLM companies came up is because they wanted to create something else, which was they didn't want to go through the retail route, right? But now, if you see, MLM is more like influencer marketing, right? MLM is really more like influencer marketing these days. So frankly, there is no concept of MLM on digital so much, if I can call it that. So you can call it customer to customer, but MLM is a outdated model, especially on the internet today.
Yes, ma'am. And Tupperware is also starting their retail also.
Who?
Yes. Tupperware is also about to start their retail chain. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, of course. Right. See, earlier they needed all these agents. मतलब वो जो उनके agent होते हैं, multi level में जो agent होते हैं, उनको वो agent इसलिए चाहिए होते थे because वो directly reach नहीं कर सकते customer को. लेकिन अब तो वो directly reach कर सकते हैं customer को. Tupperware. So they don't need all these agents now. Ultimately, multi-level marketing is also lots of middlemen, right? And D2C is all about taking out the middlemen. So that's what.
Yes.
Yes, Swati, any question?
Thank you.
Swati Chaturvedi, you want to ask any question?
No, sir. Any questions?
You raise your head.
They may put in the chat box or they may raise their hand. If anyone want to ask any question. Anshu ma'am, I have one question. Sure. That while focusing on D2C, how the companies are, what are the different ways of engaging the customer at the time of using the D2C approach?
You mean after the purchase or before the purchase?
Maybe after the purchase, ma'am. How they can engage their customers? Because it is so very difficult to retain their customers for a longer time period. No?
Right. So what you have to do is that, and here your data analytics will come in very handy because the kind of data that you get from your customers. So you might have noticed when you buy something, you start receiving lots of SMSs and you start receiving lots of emails from that brand, right? Those emailers are actually, they're trying to keep you engaged, right? At least reminding you all the time. So अभी जैसे मैंने मान लीजिए कोई नाइट क्रीम खरीदी Mamaearth से, right? After 2 days, I will get a mail that thank you for buying this. उसके 2 दिन बाद आएगी how was your experience, right? फिर एक बार फिर से आ जाएगी how was your experience. फिर एक आएगी can you recommend us to your friends if you are happy with the results, right? फिर उसके बाद आएगा एक new launch कि हमने ये नया launch किया है. ऐसे करके you have to keep thinking that अब ये customer ने ये खरीद लिया है, तो ये customer को क्या-क्या और पसंद आएगा और इसको हम क्या-क्या और मैसेज दे सकते हैं, right? So you have to, this is how you can keep them engaged. right? Or they will send you a mail saying 20% off your next purchase, right? Something like that. So this is how you can keep the customer engaged and try and bring that person back onto your website to buy something. That is extremely important.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay. May I ask one question?
Sure, sir.
In terms of the cost involved, vis-a-vis direct to customer and the through the traditional marketing channel, which one is more costlier and more influential nowadays?
These days, definitely D2C is better because, as you can see, these brands are able to make higher margins when they are going D2C, right? Frankly, this question will depend on product category and a lot of other things also. But as a thumb rule, I would say that the manufacturer would be able to retain higher margins if they take a D2C approach.
Okay.
So their profit margins will be better with the D2C approach.
So, like ma'am, I would like to add, it means 20-80% formula, that is the 20% of customer gives the 80% of business, is still working.
Actually, if you see, the whole internet is based on something called long tail. Are you aware of long tail?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah. So if you see in long tail, the curve goes like this. So it is bulging at the top and then it goes down and then it just keeps going to infinity, right? It never ends, which means it is quite possible that a lot of people will just come once to your thing and buy, and 80-20 rule may not apply in the D2C environment. It actually also does not apply in the in a lot of internet businesses. It does not apply. But when you become very large, when you become huge like Amazon or something, when you become so huge, then you will see that the 80-20 rule starts coming back again, right? But for small businesses, for small brands, the whole internet philosophy is based on long tail theory, which is that the 80-20 rule is not applicable.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Any other questions from students? I think, ma'am, they're not having any questions.
So I hope it was useful. And like I said, there are two, three things that I would leave the students with. That in today's world, especially when you will start going out to look for jobs and everything, trust me, your hands-on experience is something that will be most important for any recruiter. Okay, so please see how is it that you can integrate that while continuing your studies. I know it is difficult. But see how is it that you can do with some internships or with something that you can do. Or like I said, if you have any talent, please go ahead and start your own small little shops also. That is extremely important. That is one. The other thing for the teachers, I would say that this whole storytelling thing is very different, which we never studied in our marketing books because at that point of time, this thing did not exist. But how to create brand stories, how to tell those brand stories is something which is a very, very big part of internet marketing these days. So I wish everybody all the best, and I hope to keep in touch with all of you.
Thank you, ma'am. So on behalf of the entire institute, I would like to thank our respected resource person, Ms. Anshu Gupta ma'am, for her gracious presence. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to Ms. Anshu Gupta ma'am for enlightening our students with her inspiring words. I would also like to thank all the faculty members and students for their presence and for making this event a success. I hope it turned out to be a great learning experience for all of you. Thank you all once again. Thank you very much. And I formally announce to end this session now. Thank you, Anshu ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Marketing faculty may stay back.
Thank you, everyone. All students may now leave the session.